Welcome to the XL Sports College Football Drive at 5. You can listen to us live on xlsportsnetwork.net Thursdays at 5 or catch us on YouTube anytime by looking up XL Sports Network. Please like and subscribe for more great sporting episodes. So tonight we're going to start with a couple of reviews, starting with Colorado and TCU. Now, guys, I put the preview for Colorado and TCU. Oh, by the way, everybody, my name is Ken Parks. I'm usually the producer, but I'm taking the lead tonight. On the phone, we have Will and Chaz, who are regulars on the show. So let's start with this review. How are you guys doing tonight? Okay, great. Great. All right. So let's start with Colorado and TCU. I saw this game, and I posted the preview on YouTube, and we've got some ugly comments. Somebody said you guys need to go work at Walmart for picking so bad. Will, can you hear me now? I guess.
Yeah, I can hear you, Ken.
Okay, great. All right. Will, I was just saying that I posted the preview of Colorado and TCU on YouTube. We got some ugly comments. One person said you guys needed to go work at Walmart. What do you think about that?
Hey, if they're hiring, send me job location, all right?
Right. Well, I watched the Colorado TCU game, and it was an exciting one for sure. Deion Sanders' team, Coach Prime as they call him, went all out. Most effort I've seen out of anybody, really. And TCU just had a hard time keeping up with them. What are your thoughts on that, Chaz?
It was shocking. It was, I don't know if Colorado played really good or TCU played really bad, but it looked like both teams played all right. Both quarterbacks had, Morris, TCU's quarterback, had a good stat line, but Shadir Sanders throwing for 510 yards for 4 touchdowns. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that broke the Colorado record.
3 studs. Yeah,
absolutely.
It was crazy. I don't think anybody could have predicted what happened. So listen, that guy who said we should go work at Walmart, I am doubtful that he really believed that Colorado was going to win. And if he actually thought that, he probably had no idea about Colorado or their past seasons or Deion Sanders or anything.
I hear you.
But yeah.
Yeah, I was holding my mouth when we were in here talking about and picking TCU, but I kind of had my doubt. I didn't know what Colorado was going to be like, but I had a good idea that they might come out really fighting like they did. But who knew they were going to perform like that? 510 yards from Shadir Sanders, 3 100-yard receivers. Including number 12, what's his name, Travis Hunter, and he made some great offensive and defensive plays. I don't even know when the last time somebody at that level played both ways. Do you?
No, I have no idea when. It would have to be years for that to happen. I mean, somebody from a big time school like that. I'm sure there's some FCS schools that allow it here and there, but nothing like not a Pac-12 with ring games. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, let's move on to next review in the LSU FSU game. Chaz, our FSU alumni, do you want to go ahead and take that?
I absolutely will. That was a great game. First half looked okay. It didn't. I mean, I see a lot of people saying that Jordan Travis looked iffy in the first half and here and there. I mean, he made a few mistakes, but I wouldn't say that he played bad by any means. You know, the second half they just came away with it, man. I mean, Jordan Travis throwing for 342 yards and 4 touchdowns against an SEC defense. And listen, Jaden Daniels didn't play terrible. I mean, he threw for 346 yards and ran for 64 yards. But I think the key name in this game was Keon Coleman, 9 receptions for 122 yards and 3 touchdowns. I think that was just a dog performance by Keon. And I was listening to Josh Pate this morning, and he was saying that a big thing he took away from the game was Mike Norvell's his calmness. He understood what was going on. It looked like nothing was a surprise to him. You know, we were all surprised how much of a beatdown it was, but he just looked like he knew exactly how this game was going to play out. And I think FSU is just getting started. I think they're going to win the ACC. And if I think if they remain, if they keep a healthy roster, they could be playoff contenders.
Yeah, I think they're going to win the ACC as well. They just played really well. LSU just lost their mental toughness in the fourth quarter and just lost it. Moving on to Clemson and Duke. I did not get to see this game as I was having to sleep and wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Will, what can you tell us about this game? It was a really strange one.
Dabo Swinney said it, and I echo that sentiment. It was one of the most strange games I've ever seen in my entire life. Just the flow of the game. Clemson seemed like they were not in control, but they were pacing well with Duke, which is not something you want if you're Clemson. If you're Clemson, you want to be, beating up on Duke. It was on the road. I know that, Durham isn't exactly a hostile environment, but I think Duke really harnessed the home crowd advantage, the underdog role, and I think Riley Leonard, I think he really opened some eyes. If y'all remember, he was one of my dark horses for the Hides, and I think he's really special. And I just think a lot of what we saw for Clemson was kind of the same things we saw in the Georgia game. It was a semi-new quarterback with a brand-new OC, just trying to figure things out. Luckily, Georgia had the benefit of playing a subpar opponent, and Clemson did not. But those turnovers is the main thing that killed them. I think it was, 4 trips inside the 10-yard line, and they came away with 7 points. That ain't gonna get it done.
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing when it comes down to is just when it came time to capitalize, Clemson couldn't punch it in, and Duke made them pay for it.
Yep, and in my opinion, I think this was the biggest upset of the week. When is the last time Duke beat Clemson? Do you know?
I have 2004 is the last time they beat them, and I was also in Durham.
Exactly. So some of these kids playing have never even seen that. Chaz, did you get the chance to watch this game or hear anything about it? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a strange game. I mean, going play-by-play, if you look at if you keep account of the score and you look inside, like Will said, every time Clemson went into the red zone, I mean, the first possession they punted, that's whatever. The next possession they missed the field goal, and then a couple possessions later they fumbled, and then they had a touchdown. But then they fumbled again, and they missed another field goal, and they fumbled again, and then they threw an interception. I mean, those turnovers and those missed opportunities, they killed them. I mean, I'm pretty sure they had more yards gained than Duke did. They had more time of possession than Duke did. I mean, on paper, without looking at the score, on paper, you would see they should have beat them. But when you account for all those turnovers, it's just this is what happens when you play sloppy football. You lose a game.
Yep.
The craziest thing to me about that wasn't the amount of turnovers, because Duke had 2 turnovers, Clemson had 3, so Duke was only +1 in the turnover differential. It was just how costly those turnovers were. And if we're talking penalties, I mean, Clemson had 1 penalty for 5 yards, Duke had 7 penalties, 45 yards. Like you said, Chaz, Clemson beat them up in the box score, but it just did not translate on the scoreboard.
So this has been brought to you by the David Venable Studios in Hawkinsville, and also the Steakhouse of Hawkinsville. Tonight is Thursday. There's a Thursday night buffet. You can dine in or take out. I usually take it out. It's $7.99 a pound. So get it however much you want to eat or however much you can afford. The stuff is good. I'll tell you what. Fried chicken. You got meatballs. You got whatever you want, pretty much. One of the best buffets in Hawkins or in Georgia, period. So let's move on to previews. First of all, we've got Alabama and Texas. Now, Texas played Rice last week and beat them 37-10, which is no big deal. It's exactly what we expected. And Alabama came out and beat Middle Tennessee 56-7. In my opinion, Alabama looked really, really good. And I think they're probably going to take Texas in this coming week. Will, what do you have on that?
Always a tough matchup looking at this Texas and Alabama. I'm sorry. It's always hard to bet against Nick Saban, but they've had quite a little bit of turnover here, especially in the quarterback position. You know, arguably going from three of the best quarterbacks your team has ever seen in a row to a little bit of uncertainty and competition.
Right. Hold on one second. My number one rule is don't bet against Alabama. And for this year, my rule is probably also don't bet against Colorado.
Well, I know a lot of people have made money betting on Nick Saban, and a lot of people have probably lost money betting against him. But that's the thing about college football, man. You never know what's going to happen. We just saw Colorado come in to Fort Worth and upset TCU. I am not predicting Texas is going to walk into Tuscaloosa and beat them. But you know, there's crazier things have happened. It was a very close game last year, but Alabama was plagued with penalties that they couldn't stay onside. They couldn't help but get themselves penalized. Just a lot of going based off what I saw in week one. It's really tough to compare because, you know, they didn't play great teams. Alabama, I think, played a little bit of a worse team, but I think they played them a little better. You know, it's going to be a great game, 7:30. Looking forward to it in Tuscaloosa. I think Nick Saban's going to have his boys ready, and I just don't know about Sark yet, so we'll see what happens come game time.
All right, I think the line on that game is 7 points in favor of Alabama. And if I'm a betting man, I think I would take Alabama. But who knows? Anything can happen. Chaz, what are your thoughts?
Listen, Texas has not been the same since that national championship in 2010 when they had lost against Alabama when Colt McCoy went down. And I'm sure that they are looking at this game with wide eyes, with a chip on their shoulder. Their desire is to come to the SEC and battle for the supremacy of the SEC, and that's going to be against Alabama or Georgia. And so you already know Sark is getting his boys ready. A lot of people are high on Texas. That being said, I'm not one of those people. I think Alabama's favored to win by 7. I think it's going to be more than that. I think a lot of people were doubting Jalen Milroe. And listen, I understand he played a cupcake team. But I do think he's going to be a great player and a great Alabama quarterback. So I'm going to take Alabama on this one. I'm going to take them probably by 2 or 3 possessions. Honestly, it's in Tuscaloosa. Yeah, I'm going to take Alabama on this one.
Yeah, I think I have them winning by 10. How about you, Will? What do you think they're going to win by or lose by? What do you think the score is going to be? Will has dropped off for a second. We will go into the next preview then. Oregon versus Texas Tech. Now, last week, Oregon played Portland State, which is really a nobody, but they beat them 81-7. Oregon's currently ranked number 13, and they're going to be going up against Texas Tech this week. What are your thoughts on it, Chaz?
Yeah, I think that was crazy what Dan Lanning did to Portland State last week. I didn't expect for him to run up the score like that. That was a little odd. I also thought that Texas Tech was going to probably win the Big 12. They were my sleeper to win the Big 12, and they just lost to Wyoming. So I definitely think that Oregon is going to win this game. I mean, you got one team that just played, just got put up 83 on another team, and one team that just lost to Wyoming. So I'm definitely going to go with Oregon on this one. I think Bo Nix I mean, he had a great game last week. I mean, 23 for 27 for 287 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that was a great stat line. He went off.
Yeah, moving out of the SEC did him well.
Yeah, he did. And you know, Texas Tech's quarterback, he played well too. He went 31 for 47 for 338 yards and 2 touchdowns. He did throw a pick. That's not a terrible stat line. It's a pretty good stat line, I would say.
No.
But I don't think that Texas Tech's defense is going to know how to play football against Oregon's offense. You know, they allowed 320 yards against Wyoming last week. So I'm going to go with Oregon on this one, and I'm going to go with them big. What is it? You know what the spread is on this game?
I don't know what the spread is.
Oh, it's Oregon by 6.5.
Oh yeah, I'd pick that all day.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're going to beat them more than 6.5, but
double digits is my thoughts
for sure.
So, all right. Next up, we have Colorado and Nebraska. Now, Colorado just came off of that big win, and Nebraska came off a close loss, which I think that's normal for them. However, it's under a new coach. I personally think that this will be another dogfight, and whoever wants the game most is going to get it. What are your thoughts on that, Chaz?
Listen, there's not a worse team for Nebraska to play against this week. Coming off a close loss, new head coach, they want to build a culture, they want to build up a program. The last thing you want to play is a team that everybody's high on, that just played lights out last week, that has had a huge upset. They're not going to want to play that. So it's going to be very hard for Matt Rhule to coach this team this week and through the game. That being said, I think Colorado is going to win this game. And okay, here's the thing. I would not be surprised either way. I definitely think Shedeur Sanders is a better quarterback than Jeff Sims, and I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think Travis Hunter is going to play a lot of defense this game because I'm sure Jeff Sims will throw several interceptions to Travis Hunter. Yeah, what a crazy matchup. Like Colorado is, I mean, the spread's Colorado by 3. So I'm going to pick Colorado to win. It's either going to, this game could go any way. What an unpredictable game. Who knows? Two first-year head coaches at new schools. It's probably going to be a very weird game.
Mm-hmm. Will, are you with us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. What are your thoughts on the game?
Who knows, man? We saw some special things from Shedeur Sanders last weekend. I think that he played about as perfectly as he could have. His decision making was on point. I think he made the right call every single time. He played about as flawless as he could have. I think it shows in the fact that he had 4 receivers over 100 yards. I want to give him his flowers. He played outstanding. Got to give credit to 12 too. Like you said, Travis Hunter was all over the field making plays. That interception he got on the goal line, that was huge. The second of 2, I believe, red zone turnovers by TCU that helped cost them the game. But I think the play before that is even more significant. You know, Travis Hunter is the one that tracked down that running back all the way from across the field and put him in position to be able to get that interception. So just all effort from him. And I think it was a fantastic job of obviously Coach Prime having his players ready. And I think it was an absolutely horrible job by TCU of trying to do something that resembled playing defense. That was abysmal, to say the least. And honestly, I think they threw the ball way too much, especially in the red zone, which resulted in those 2 interceptions.
Well, the real question is, Will, how can Nebraska beat Colorado?
That's a really good question. I do think Nebraska last week, they played much better defense than TCU did. Granted, they were playing a less high-powered offense in Minnesota. But I do think they played better defense. It's going to be tough to match up with those horses they got outside of Colorado, though. Them boys can fly. Really, the only way that they have a leg up in this is there's a potential for an emotional letdown for Colorado after a big, huge statement win like that. They could rest on their heels, get some complacency. That's just human nature to do things like that.
Yeah, I would agree.
Colorado's defense.
I would agree with that, except we're talking about Deion Sanders' team right now. And he is the biggest motivator I've seen in a long time.
He's fantastic. He's outstanding. Obviously, he proved that last weekend. But if we look at that Colorado defense, that wasn't anything to write home about either. They won by outscoring TCU. They couldn't stop a thing.
That's true.
Especially that run defense, that run defense. And if you think Nebraska isn't going to take note of that and try and run the ball 30, 40 times this weekend, I think they're definitely going to. It's going to be. I think it's going to be a interesting game to watch. I think Nebraska's only hope is try and slow it down, like I said, try and ground and pound them. I'm with Chaz. I don't trust Jeff Sims either to throw it or to make the decisions. I think he proved that last week with his 3 interceptions. So if Nebraska's plan is to get into a shootout, they're going to lose probably by 30. If they can play ball control, I think they're going to stay in it to the very end.
Yeah, I think they could stay in it to the very end. However, I think I'm going to go with Colorado by 4. Moving on to the Mississippi-Tulane game. Last week, Mississippi played Mercer, beat them 73-7, while Tulane played South Alabama and beat them 37-17. Now, Tulane's been pretty good last year. They were pretty good last year. So is Mississippi. This one's going to be a hard one to call, but I think Mississippi should probably have it by 7 to 10 points. Will, what are your thoughts on this game?
I think I'll speak for myself. I think I was a little concerned about the carryover that Tulane might have from their success last year. And they really didn't seem to miss a beat. They played a good defense in the South Alabama last week. That's a really good football team, especially for a Group of 5 team. I think we're seeing that Tulane might be the best Group of 5 team out there, and even deserving to be one of the teams that moves up to a different conference here soon. I don't think we got any information about Ole Miss from that game against Mercer. It's a total mismatch in every way imaginable. I do think we got a little more information about Tulane. That game was, I believe, close for at least a half or so. Looking at the first half, it was 24-10, so you can call it close, I guess. But I think Tulane played some really good defense, and that quarterback, I believe Michael Pratt, he for those you don't know, he went 14 of 15, 294 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's about as perfect as you can play a game of football quarterback position. They are missing their running back last year, Tyjae Spears, so they may rely on him a little more, but he's proven he can answer the call. This one's still a toss-up. I haven't looked at it strongly enough to make a prediction either way yet, but I think it's going to be a much closer game than most people anticipate. I think it's going to be kind of a sleeper game this week.
Mm-hmm. And Chaz, what are your thoughts on this game, Mississippi and Tulane?
I have to agree with Will. I was cautious to see how Tulane bounced back from last year after beating USC, UCF, Cincinnati. They had a very successful year last year, very successful, more successful than what a lot of people thought they would. And I do believe that they are probably the best Group of 5 team in the country. Having said, I have no idea, like Will said, how Ole Miss plays because they did play against subpar opponents. I can tell you about Jackson Dart's, stat line of 18 for 23 for 333 yards and 4 touchdowns. But, what other, Power 5 football team or Group 5 football team, for that matter, can do that against Mercer? Probably most of them.
Right.
So I do agree that this is going to be a very close game. I am going to roll with Ole Miss. For 7, and the spread 7.5. I say Tulane covers, but I do think Ole Miss will win.
Gotcha. All right, this is the XL College Sports Football Drive at 5. You can listen to us live on the xlsportsnetwork.net Thursdays at 5, or catch us on YouTube anytime by looking us up at XL Sports Network. Please like and subscribe for more great sporting episodes. This was brought to you by the David Venable Studios in Hawkinsville and the Steakhouse, where Thursday night has the buffet, one of the best in the state of Georgia. Take it. You can dine in or take out. Either way, it's going to taste great. Moving on to our next segment, we're going to do our top 10. And let's do our top 10s backwards, moving from 10 to 1. I'll start with mine. So mine, number 10 is Oklahoma. And let's see here. They played Arkansas State last week and did exactly or more than what they were supposed to do, winning 73-0. What's Oklahoma's quarterback's name? I can't remember. He came from UCF.
Dylan Gabriel.
Gabriel, yes. Yeah, he looked really good, and they should have a really great season. Will, your thoughts on that, and what would be your number 10 be?
If I had to pick one, it'd be tough. That 10 spot's kind of a fringe spot for me. I'd have right there Tennessee or Texas at number 10. Honestly, Texas, just because I think it'd be fun to have a top 10 matchup with Alabama.
Right.
But you could throw Utah in there too. They impressed me with how well they kind of dominated the flow of that game against Florida last week. If I got to pick one, I'll throw Tennessee there at number 10. I think they kind of struggled to start out, but they finished well against Virginia. So we'll see what they can do going forward.
All right. Chaz, what's your number 10? Chaz, you with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Gotcha. I say my number 10 would probably be Washington. They had a good game last week. They came off a great season last season. They stumped Boise State. They're probably going to do the same thing at Tulsa. Michael Penix Jr. is the man. So yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Huskies at number 10.
Sounds good. All right, moving on to number 9. My number 9, and a lot of people are gonna fuss at me about this, is Ohio State. They're ranked number 5 currently. Yeah. They played Indiana, and to me, it was a big letdown at 23-3. I just didn't think they played as good as a top 4 or 5 team should play, and I saw better play out of some other teams. So I put them all the way down to number 9. Will, how about you?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, it's your turn. Number 9.
It's always tough ranking teams preseason and especially first few weeks of the season. If I got to slot somebody in there at number 9, I think they did a good job after week 1, adjusting teams around. The AP did, and I say that very rarely because I think they don't make good decisions a lot. Also, Notre Dame in there. I think they haven't played great competition, but I mean the teams they've beat them to death, and that's what you're supposed to do. I think we're going to see a little bit more how good they're going to be this weekend because I expect them to beat NC State and beat them pretty soundly. So my number 9, I got Notre Dame right there.
I hear you. That's a good pick. And Chaz, how about you? Number 9.
I'd say Notre Dame would be my number 9 as well. For all the reasons Will gave. I think they're going to have a good year under Marcus Freeman. I think Sam Hartman's going to do great at quarterback. So yeah, number 9 is going to go to Notre Dame for me.
All right, great. Moving on to number 8, I have USC. Let's see here. Now USC play. Oh, I missed my paper. USC played Nevada, and in week 0 they also played San Jose State. The USC played San Jose State, beat them 56-28, and played Nevada and beat them 66-14. Now they have a great quarterback. Everything looked really good. However, it is Lincoln Riley's team, and I'm not sure about their defense yet. And that is really the only reason I put them at number 8. And I think that Colorado might be able to beat them. Will?
Whoa. Okay. It's my number 8 team. I think I'm going to slot Penn State in there. They look like a really good football team right now. But all they played is West Virginia, and coming into the season, nobody thought very highly of West Virginia. And up until halftime, that was a pretty close game. So I know they're still feeling out Drew Aller, and I think he's going to be great, something special. But for the time being, I got them in the 8 slot. And like I said, a lot of my preseason rankings, or I guess week 1 rankings, are based off of what the AP top poll was before, and not necessarily where I would put everybody. Because like I said, I think ranking people this early in the year is really hard and sometimes almost impossible.
Well, we expect it to move around. Well, I expect the rankings to move around. So, Chaz, what is your number 8 team?
My number 8 team is going to be the Tennessee Volunteers. Last week they thumped Virginia, and at first we were thinking, this is a pretty sloppy game. Joe Milton making bad passes, but most of which, a lot of the incompletions were drop passes. And I think they're going to clean that up. They played a little sloppy, and they still destroyed Virginia. And I know Virginia's not a team to call home about, but I think they're just going to get better and better. I don't think they're going to challenge Georgia for the SEC East or anything. They'll probably finish second, but I think there's going to be a huge divide there. But no, I'm rolling with Tennessee to be my number 8.
Yeah, I could see them going 11-1 through the season, for sure. All right, moving on to number 7. My number 7 team is Oregon, who absolutely destroyed their opponent this past week. They're going to play Texas Tech this week, and I think they're going to roll. I think Bo Nix has had plenty of years behind the center, and he's on the right team at the right time. Will, number 7.
We're up to number 7, you said, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think it might be a little bit of a hot take, but I'm a little down on Ohio State too. I'm gonna slot them right in there at number 7. Honestly, I considered putting them below Penn State, but it's tough to rank again. Like I said, after week 1, I was not impressed at all with the quarterback play that they got from either one of their quarterbacks. I know one guy only played for 2-3 balls, but as far as what we got from that position, I wasn't very impressed. And outside of probably their second or third string running back, they didn't produce a whole lot from the rushing game either. I think people expected a lot from Trayvon Henderson and Williams as well, but it was really the unsung hero of that game was Trey Adams, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He played arguably the best running back in that game, and it's tough to say that a team played super well when they struggled like that against Indiana, because I don't think very highly of Indiana, and I don't think anybody else does either. So when you only beat them 23-3, that's kind of a tough pill to swallow for Ohio State, and tough to rank them higher than where they are now.
I agree with you. Chaz, who's your number 7 team?
My number 7 team is Penn State. I thought they played really well. Drew Allar throwing for 21 for 29, 325 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then Nicholas Singleton, my dark horse for the Heisman. He played pretty good. He had 70 yards rushing. Who did they play last week?
They played West Virginia.
Yes. They beat them pretty handily. So number 7, my number 7 was Penn State.
That's a good pick. Moving on to number 6. My number 6 is Penn State. As I just said, they beat West Virginia 38-15. They did everything they needed to do. They looked good, and in my opinion, they looked better than Ohio State. So I do have them slightly higher than Ohio State. Next, they go on to play Delaware, which they should just roll over them. Will, what is your number 6 team?
Number 16 for me is Washington. I think really highly of them. Michael Penix is my Heisman winner for the year. I think he's going to do it. I wanted to put him higher. I did. Like I said, I'm really high in Washington. But, at the beginning of the third quarter, after Boise State scored that touchdown, it was a 9-point lead at the beginning of the third quarter. And it's not that they didn't end up blowing them out eventually. It's just letting them hang around for that long is kind of what dinged them a little bit for me. So sitting right there at 6, I got Washington.
All right, sounds good. Chaz, who is your number 6 team?
Right now, my number 6 team is Ohio State. And I do think they're going to finish higher than this. I think they're going to keep getting better and better throughout the season. I know, 23-3 to Indiana does not look good. It's the first game of the season. Kyle McCord's going to shake off some things. Marvin Harrison's going to have an amazing year. I don't want to overreact about a sloppy game against, week 1 game against Indiana, because any team is susceptible to it. But my number 6 is Ohio State for now. Next week it'll probably be they'll probably finish higher on my list. But for right now, that's Ohio State.
I hear you. So that's 6 through 10 on our top 10s. All right. That was 6 through 10 on our top 10. So this is the XL Sports College Football Drive at 5. You can listen to us live on xlsportsnetwork.net Thursdays at 5, or catch us on YouTube anytime by looking us up. XL Sports Network. Please like and subscribe for more great sporting episodes. This has been brought to you by the David Venable Studios in Hawkinsville and the Steakhouse of Hawkinsville, where Thursday night buffet is going on right now. You can dine in or take out. The prices are fair, and the food is great. Moving on to our top 5. Number 5. In my number 5 is FSU. We already talked about what happened there. They beat the crap out of LSU in the fourth quarter, and they looked really good doing it. So I put them at number 5. Next week they play Mississippi. Chaz, what is the feel around campus after that game?
Everybody is on cloud 9. Everybody's high on FSU. Everybody has huge expectations, aspirations for this team. And I don't think they're for a waste. I think that no one is more confident in the FSU football team than the FSU football team. I think they know what they're about, and I think they know what they can do. The question is just going out and doing it. But right now, Tallahassee is feeling pretty good.
I bet they are. All right, well, Chaz, what is your number 5 team?
My number 5 team is the University of Southern California with Caleb Williams at the helm. That is for right now. Like I said in my last pick, they're probably going to finish out of the top 10, honestly, unless they figure out how to play defense. But Caleb Williams is having another amazing year so far, just through 2 weeks of play. Almost has 600 yards passing and 9 touchdowns already. That's amazing. This week is going to be an interesting game against Stanford. Now, Stanford's no team to call home about by any means, but this is the last time that this rivalry gets played for now. Stanford will go to the ACC, and USC is going to go to the Big Ten. So I think it's going to be a really exciting game. It's in LA. USC is favored by 29.5, but in these rivalry games, you never really know. But USC is my number 5 right now.
Right. I know all the Pac-12 teams won this past week. which is amazing in itself. They all have great quarterbacks. So pretty much any Pac-12 game that you're going to watch this year is going to be great. I don't know about the Pac-2 for next year. We'll find out. Will, are you with us yet? All right, Will is not with us still. So we're going to move on to number 4. My number 4 is Notre Dame. Now, they've already played 2 games, and they beat both teams very handily, even though the first one was Navy and the next one was, I don't even know, it was nobody really. But the way that they played, the way that Sam Hartman took control of that team, and it came together, very few penalties. I believe they deserved a spot in my top 4, so I put them at number 4. Chaz, how about your number 4?
Ken, you got Notre Dame in front of FSU? That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
It is crazy. It is very crazy.
I'm teasing.
And I'm looking forward to seeing Notre Dame play all those great teams that they play, just to see if they could stay where I expect them to. And your number 4 team is Alabama, you said?
Yeah. Alabama's my number 4. I think. Listen, I was not on the bash Alabama train this offseason. I think Nick Saban and his whole squad was absolutely eating it up and loving it. I think that I don't know what kind of propaganda they were feeding people to say that they didn't have a good quarterback, because they do. I think that Alabama will win the SEC West. I was saying that in the offseason too. But no, for right now, Alabama sits at my number 4.
Yeah, I noticed that in interviews, Nick Saban just wasn't saying much. Matter of fact, most of what I saw Nick Saban doing was just sitting back with his arms crossed, probably thinking these media people are crazy. I'm not even going to talk to them. Will, are you back with us yet? I think we might have lost Will. All right.
I think Will's gone.
Yeah, I do too. All right. Going on to the number 3 team, I have Michigan. They played a good game this past week, and next they have to play UNLV. I don't think Michigan's going to have any problems through any of their games until maybe Ohio State and Penn State. What are your thoughts on that, Chaz?
Well, Michigan is also my number 3 right now. I think J.J. McCarthy is playing great. I didn't realize how athletic the guy is, but he's a stud athlete. You know, throwing for 26, for 30, for 280 yards and 3 touchdowns. And listen, I know he played against a Group of 5 team in Eastern Carolina, but Eastern Carolina isn't just some pushover team. They have a pretty good squad for several years now. I think, you know, with J.J. McCarthy and Blake Corum at the helm of that Michigan offense, I think they're going to do great. So they're my number 3 for right now, and they're probably going to finish that way too.
I agree with you. All right. Again, this is the XL Sports College Football Drive at 5. You can listen to us live on the XLSportsNetwork.net. Go to the page and just press the Listen Live button, and you'll find us. Also, you can listen to us on YouTube. Go to XL Sports Network. Look us up. We have the College Football Drive at 5, the Saturday morning quarterback show for Georgia High School football. And we also have Hawkinsville High School football on Friday nights at 7 o'clock. Join us at any time. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you want to listen to us live, just join us on XLSportsNetwork.net. Moving on to number 2 team. My number 2 is Alabama. Of course, you know, they took care of business in the first week. And next they play Texas, which I believe in my opinion, I think Alabama's going to handle Texas pretty handily and probably win by 10, which is why Texas isn't even in my top 10. And Alabama is at number 2. Chaz?
Listen, I'm a lifetime Georgia fan, and I'm an FSU alumni, and you have probably taken notice on the two teams I've saved for my 2 and number 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my number 2, listen, it's a great time to be me, because I'm a Georgia fan at heart and an FSU alumni, so I'm an FSU fan. And so last week was pretty great. I won't even lie to you, Ken. But my number 2 will be FSU.
I kind of figured it would.
This past week. Yeah. And listen, if Georgia would win back-to-back national championships, I'll put it to you like this. I think FSU looked like the best team in the country last week. I'll say that. I think they look like the best team in the country.
Well, in my opinion, Notre Dame looked like the best team in the country. But again, like you said, UGA has won back-to-back national championships. And I'm a diehard UGA fan, and I agree. They didn't look as great as they should have. However, until they get really close or lose, I'm going to have to keep them at number 1.
Yeah. And you know, my top 10 list this radio show has been some teams I say, oh, this just past week, and now for UGA I'm saying, oh, they have credibility first. So for those listening at home, this is my list. I get to do what I want.
That's right.
So number 2, I have FSU, and number 1, I have Georgia. And you know, we don't even have to explain why. They look like the 2 best teams in the country.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're probably going to be signing off a few minutes early since we're out of content, unless you have something else you needed to get off your chest, Chaz.
No. Go Dogs, go Noles. Y'all have a good week, and have a great weekend watching some good college football.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us here at the studio, Chaz, and you have a great night.
All right, you too.
All right, thanks.
God bless you guys.
All right, you too. Bye-bye. All right, this has been the College Football Drive at 5 on the XL Sports Network. You can listen to us live on xlsportsnetwork.net. Just go to the page and find the button that says Listen Live. Press that button, and you will hear us. We have radio on most of the time. However, on Thursdays, we have our College Football Drive at 5. On Friday nights at 7 o'clock, we have Hawkinsville High School football in the state of Georgia. And on Saturday mornings, we have the state of Georgia High School Saturday morning quarterback show with Bruce Mims. And we will also have all that on YouTube. Just look us up on YouTube, XL Sports Network, and review any of our stuff. Let us know how we're doing, what we can do better. And if you have anything nasty to say, just go ahead and say it. It's okay to us. So you guys have a great night. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow if you're going to be here for the Hawkinsville football game. Otherwise, we'll catch you the next time.